I'm Dennis St. Martin with Pompe Warrior Foundation.
I'm Anne St. Martin with Pompe Warrior Foundation.
And today we are here with Maria Emmerich. She is a keto cookbook author, a blogger, and all sorts of every other things. She's going to be here answering some questions for us today about what it takes to be ketogenic and some good helpful things to maintain it.
Yes. So I guess we first wanted to start out, can you tell us how you got started in the ketogenic lifestyle?
Well, I certainly can. I think I was 17 years old, and I went to the doctor, and I left with a prescription for an antidepressant, acid blockers, and I had PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's kind of like a diabetes that affects female fertility. And I was told it was nothing I could change. So I left with 3 prescriptions, which I never filled because that same day or that same week I went to the vet because my dog was losing patches of her hair. And the first question the vet asked me was, "What are you feeding her?" And never once did my doctor ask me that. Yeah. And so we went home and we changed our lives with that same day. And I wanted to become a nutritionist, so I went to school for nutrition science and exercise physiology. Sadly, I was taught the food pyramid guide at that time, but I did know what the whole 7 to 11 grains caused me to be very overweight and unhealthy. And so when I opened my practice, it was a ketogenic diet, but it wasn't really called that then. Yeah. But you know, it is now. And I love food. I will always love food. That's what caused me to be overweight and be very sick. But I don't want to live off of chicken breasts and broccoli and salads. No. And so that's why I write recipes of things that we love to eat. I love ice cream. I have ketogenic ice cream every day. And I want people to know that they can do it and they can eat their favorite foods. I'm sorry, but nothing tastes better than fresh churned ice cream. It tastes way better than any store-bought sugary stuff anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah. And that's one thing your cookbooks do great, especially the one that I held up here, the ketogenic cooking, the quick and easy ketogenic cooking. Yes. We give this to everybody. This is my favorite one. You do such a good job. It's like a tutorial on how to become ketogenic, and you spell out meal plans and grocery lists and all those kinds of things like that. And you do a great job. It's easier to tell people what you can't eat than what you can eat. I find, it's.
I find myself being, I'm a very positive person by nature, and I like to think of all of the yummy foods that I can have that we thought were unhealthy, rather than all the things that I can't have. And also those things that I'm told I can't have, like Pop-Tarts, I make those ketogenic. So I like to make it a game where, I can't have that. Well, I'm going to make it healthy.
Yeah.
But
it's a good challenge.
That is a good challenge. But, all right. Well, thanks for your background on it. What would be like the biggest benefits you think from a health standpoint, other than what we're trying to do with the lysosomal and cutting the glycogen out of your body? Just in your day-to-day with your clients, what do you think?
I guess I do. Yeah, there's so many. I see a lot of people on antidepressants or anti-anxiety medications getting off of them, and that is no small feat. No. Food is medicine. Let thy medicine be thy food. And, when you look at the brain neurotransmitters, like serotonin, dopamine, those are made up of animal protein. And so just getting back to real food is really important. But also the sheath of your cells are made up of healthy fats. And so you need to fuel your body with those healthy fats. And if you know anybody with osteopenia, osteoporosis, if you look at the sheath of our bones, they're made up of fat, but not just any fat. They're made up of saturated fat, the exact same fat that doctors are telling us is killing us.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, my great grandma, when she was 96 years old, she fell down the steps onto a concrete basement floor. She didn't break one bone. You know, her bones would have shattered if she lived on the SAD diet, the standard American diet. But nope, my grandma was smart. She was wonderful. She would have that coffee cup of lard in her fridge, and I would want to throw that away, and she'd say, no, Maria, that stuff is like gold here, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, she ate all of those things that were told as unhealthy.
We keep bacon grease now.
Yeah.
I know, we do too, yeah.
Yeah.
So
but there's so many
meds. And I've heard a lot of people say the energy level too is another big benefit.
Oh yeah, I joke that I'm the Energizer Bunny, and I don't touch caffeine. I can't touch caffeine. And so yeah, energy is through the roof for sure. That afternoon slump that you usually have on a SAD diet, if you get tired after you eat, that is a sign that those carbohydrates are turning into triglycerides. Yeah. So you want to make sure that food should be energizing to you.
Yeah.
And I notice if I eat too close to bedtime, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't sleep, you know?
Yeah. I know one thing that the few people that we've gotten onto it too is inflammation. I mean, people lose inflammation within days of doing this. And their joints are better, everything else is crazy how fast it works.
Pain goes away. If you have pitting edema, I had a client who was very overweight, but she would lose 20 pounds in a day. And that's the water retention of pitting edema goes away like mad.
That's crazy.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
So then I guess it leads to my next question. In your opinion, what's the hardest thing about becoming ketogenic at first?
Temptation of this so-called American lifestyle. Like I live in the woods. I like to stay at home and stuff, but when I do travel and just seeing all of these, bombardments of food, like we homeschool, and so my kids think normal food is what we eat. And it is normal food, right?
Yeah.
But when we get out when we travel and they see kids with, we saw a little boy eating pink string cheese. It was fruit punch flavored string cheese. Like, that doesn't even sound good to me.
Yeah. No.
We're creating
How many
this,
things have to happen? Yeah.
I know. But, we're creating this environment of frankenfood that our bodies are never going to know what to digest. And we feel, as parents, we want to give our kids the world, right? I mean, that's why you're doing this. We fear saying no to them to cotton candy or treats, and in reality, even though they may not have a weight problem or whatever it is, it's still not fueling their cells properly, and it's setting out up for a lifetime of,
Of addiction.
Addiction, exactly. When we study rats, not that we're rats, but we gave them the option of sugar and we gave them the option of cocaine, and they always chose the sugar.
No.
And then we put a twist on it and we shocked them when they chose the sugar, but they could have cocaine for free. They still chose the sugar. And when you look at the dopamine receptors, they are totally triggered when they have the sugar. Sugar is an addiction, and I don't throw that term around lightly.
No.
And it's not an understatement. That's honestly what's the hardest thing about ketogenic diets? The addiction.
Yeah. I agree. I think my biggest struggle as a mother with our oldest is we've all become ketogenic, and having him be like, Mom, can't I have peanut butter and jelly? And I'm like, no, we're going to have eggs today, and things like that. But I know, like you said, in the long run, he'll be better for it.
Absolutely. I adore my parents, but they never admitted that there was a problem. And I believe my kids were made for me, so I don't take anything back, but it did cause my infertility. And so I'm not mad at them for it, but definitely denial caused, my life to be a little different.
Yeah.
Well, it's led you to this. I think you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's not bad.
It's a different path.
Yeah, different path.
So stars, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I heard you mention earlier you were out with your kids and you saw somebody else eating something different, whatever. When you go out to eat, what do you do? What makes it like when you go to a restaurant? How do you order something and maintain your keto life? I guess.
Living in this area, we're close to Minneapolis, and so we'll go to like some place like I'm gonna name drop Red Cow. They're a great grass-fed burger place, and they do not blink an eye when we say we don't want any buns, we don't want any fries. My kids will throw down 2 of their burgers they like their coleslaw. They love their chicken wings, their dry chicken rings and stuff. You definitely can find restaurants that are open to that type of stuff. Yeah. And there's now, I was just in Madison, and he was a type 1 diabetic, the owner of this restaurant. He made fathead pizza. He made meatballs over zoodles and different type of zoodle. Everything was ketogenic and so good. And this is the normal food for my kids. They don't know any different. Mm-hmm. They were given sugar on a flight once when I had to run to the restroom. The flight attendant asked my son if they want a soda, and we have a soda streamer at home where we make our own, sugar-free soda. And he threw down a Sprite like no other, and he was so sick. He said, "Mommy, I never want sugar again." He threw up everywhere. Oh. And so I used that as a teaching tool. Like, that's what sugar does. And he's like, "I don't ever want it again." Yeah. And, it is what they know. Yeah. They don't have a They don't have money. They eat what I cook,
Yeah, you're the boss.
So do you think it's a matter of going out to eat and not being afraid to ask for those things, to not have a bun and can I have a side of vegetables and things like that?
Absolutely. I spoke on the low carb cruise a couple months ago, and you go to this dinner and everything, and at our table we just say no bread, and they brought us a bunch of steamed broccoli, and we threw a lot of butter on there, and we all had steaks or fish, salmon. There's always an option. You just have to be mentally ready to say no to the bread.
Yeah. And avoid the temptation.
Right. Yeah. And it was hard for me at first. Like, my husband wasn't always keto. He is more strict than I am now, but there was a time when, he would get the burgers with fries and maybe a dessert, and the dessert part I had to excuse myself to go to the bathroom or something, because I love sugar, and that's why I feel I can say no to that stuff now that I have my flourless chocolate torte in the freezer. So if I want a piece of something, I can have that. Some people judge me for allowing those treats, but that's how I find success with myself.
Yeah. But you can't. You have to allow some things, but you can do them in smarter ways.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing. Yeah.
And be realistic to the fact that you're going to get tempted. So be prepared for it.
Accept it. Yeah. Accept it.
Holidays are coming up soon. And I bring a few desserts because everybody always enjoys them, and that way my kids and I don't feel left out or anything like that. So, and I love to bake, and that's a part of the holidays for us. And people are glad to try different things. And so I come ready. I come fueled to eat good. I mean, I bring the deviled eggs. I bring all of these tasty things.
And you always have some good baking recipes and stuff on your Instagram and on your blog, and we're always looking at those. And we make some ourselves too. Yeah. Definitely.
So then I guess that leads to our last question. What would you say are 5, or not 5, but essential items to keep in your fridge while you're becoming ketogenic? Or to help you stay ketogenic?
Absolutely. Nobody needs that stuff in your house, because if it would be in the house, it would be calling my name, right? So we stock really well. We actually have 3 chest freezers just because I'm a bow hunter and fisher and all of that. But eggs are cheap, they're cheaper than cereal and milk. And so that's a huge staple in our house. We used to get 11 dozen from our neighbor every week. And we also have grass-fed beef, but whatever kind of beef you can get, that's a really big staple. Steaks are really easy to fry up, so if you can, grill up a steak, that only takes 3 minutes on a side. So thaw it out. I mean, there's no excuses there. That takes no time at all. Bacon is a big one. I mean, we always have that in our fridge. I'm just trying to think. We have so many things. And I guess in my freezer, I always have popsicles that are very easy to make. I throw everything into a blender and pour them into either the push pop molds. Kids love push pops, or popsicles. Even, in the wintertime, we enjoy ice cream treats.
Of course.
And I guess,
What about vegetables? What vegetables would you say you always have on hand?
I guess we joke that we're carnivores here.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe some leafy greens or salads, but we joke that we are. I don't like to count things. I don't like to count calories. I don't like to count carbohydrates, and I guess I'm on the, so that we are carnivores. I know that all vegetables have anti-nutrients. We don't have to get into that, but I wish that they would do more studies on ketogenic diets, like the amount of vitamin C you need. That changes depending on what you're eating. If you're eating a high carbohydrate diet, the need for vitamin C goes up. If you eat no carbohydrates, that scurvy doesn't happen. Yeah. So I wish that they would do more studies on the nutrients found in meat, because if you look at kale versus grass-fed beef and beef liver throws kale, blueberries, all of that off the charts. It has way more, but I think doctors are afraid to recommend that because of the saturated fats and all of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Maria. Thank you for doing this interview with us, and thank you for being a part of our resources for people in our Pompe world, so they can go and figure out how to be ketogenic and be successful at it. We really appreciate it.
Way to be pioneers. I'm very, very proud to be a part of this, even if I'm just a little bit.
No,
you're a big
part of it. Do you have anything that you want to push, or not push, but talk about, like your blog, your Instagram, and your cookbooks?
Well, I do have a lot of free recipes. I mean, there was a time that, we did not have any money, so I understand, that's why I put free recipes on my blog. I think there's 1,000 plus on there. If you can't buy a cookbook, but I do have that's mariamindbodyhealth.com. I have a Facebook where you can ask questions and I'll answer them at Keto Adapted, or I'm on Instagram at Maria Emmerich.
Yeah, so we're going to have all those linked on our website as well, too, for you.
So thank you very much, Maria. We appreciate everything, and keep showing us the way.
Yes.
I guess.
And showing us the fun recipes.
Yeah, you got it.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.